Good afternoon. I am Clarina L. Flores, and for today, I would be discussing the part 2 of Chapter 6 Foundations of Business Intelligence, Databases and Information Management. So, there are different tools that could be used by a business in terms of collecting data and at the same time analyzing those data that would be useful for decision-making process. So once the data have been captured and organized on the organization's electronic data warehouse, these data will then be available for analysis for relationship patterns and trends, and again that would be useful for the decision making process of the business. This is where tools for business intelligence comes in. So as you can see on the image presented, so capturing data includes consolidating, analyzing, and of course giving insight. So there are actually three tools that would be discussed on this topic. So first is software for database querying and reporting. We also have what we call the online analytical processing or OLAP, and of course data mining. So let us discuss online analytical processing, or otherwise known as OLAP. So this type of tool is useful for a business that sells multiple products and has multiple branches at the same time. So if the business want to know how many sales were made on a specific product, in a specific period of time and wants to compare it to the actual sales and the projected sales, this tool should be used. So online analytical processing supports multidimensional data analysis. So this enables the users to view the same data in a different way using multiple dimensions. So at the same time, this also enables users to obtain online answers to questions in a fairly rapid amount of time, meaning there is already a built-in system in the business from which gathering this information as quickly as possible. So with this, managers and supervisor could use multidimensional data to visualize the difference in sales of certain products within a previous quarter. So an example is, for example, SM group of companies have different branches all over in the Philippines and also a few branches in Southeast Asia. So for example, they want to identify if in their um, technological aspects, they want to identify how many were sold for a specific Sony television in this certain quarter. So this type of tool should be used. So there are actually aspects of information that are considered in this type of tool. So of course, we have the product, the pricing, the cost, the region, and of course, the time or period. Here in your screen is the multidimensional data model. So as you can see on the left side, there's actually like a Rubik's Cube. So the view that is showing is product versus region. So try to imagine a Rubik's Cube and rotating it in a 90-degree angle. So the face that will show is the product versus the actual and projected sales. And again, if you rotate it on 90-degree angle, you will see the region versus the actual and projected sales. And then also other views are possible. You can also see the view of the projected sales versus a specific product. So let us now go to data mining. So data mining is a tool that is more of discovery driven. So data mining provides information that cannot be done by OLAP. So such as finding hidden patterns and relationships in large databases and infers rules from them to predict future behavior. So these patterns and relationships shall be used again also in the business decision process. So these types of information obtainable from data mining are the following. First is we have association. So when we talk about association, this talks about how many times this transaction occurs within a single event. So for example, how many times is this product purchased within a day? Next is we have sequences. So these are events linked over time. So for example, during red tag sales, so are these products more purchased during the red tag sale season, or are they more purchased during the regular selling period? Next is we also have what we call classification. In here, patterns describing a group of an item where it belongs to. So, is it belonging, this categorically categorize the product that is being sold. So, for the fourth one, we have what we call clustering. So, for clustering, discovering as yet unclassified groupings. So, for example, a certain purchase. So a certain purchase includes television set, and then it also includes a baking supplies or baking materials. Then it includes stationery. So discovery and classified groupings. In forecasting, this is used a series of values to forecast the future. So all of the data that was gathered previously will be used to forecast or predict future sales, or future sales that would be used in making strategies in terms of marketing, pricing, costing, and such. Moving on, we have what we call text mining. So it must be noted that unstructured data, most likely what we call text files, accounts for 80% of an organization's useful information. So in here, most data that are available in the organization already have an available structure in the database and files. However, there are instances that data are found on text file, and this is where text mining comes in. So text mining allows businesses to extract key elements from discover patterns in and summarize large unstructured data sets. So text mining uses sentiment analysis. An example is online text comments or on emails to measure customer sentiments. So we have like customer satisfaction review. So this is where text mining comes in. It analyzes those texts and then it generates certain data and information that would be useful for the business. So in here, the transcript also will have what we call transcript of calls. So for example na lang, we have like online customer service representative. We have that mostly for businesses. So this is where text mining also comes in. So transcript of calls will be created, and then in here, customer service centers identify major service and repair issues. Let us now go to web mining. So web mining is used to understand customer behavior, evaluate the effectiveness of company websites, and review the success of the digital marketing strategy of the business. So usually this happens, for example, we placed an ad through the use of social medias or websites, browsers, and in here, through the use of web mining, we analyze useful patterns and information from the web. So kumbaga, we can identify which ads are being mostly viewed by our customers, or mostly target customers, or even general people. So in here, to understand customer behavior, we evaluate the website. So are the ads being viewed? Are the ads being skipped? Parang ganon. We also quantify the success of marketing. So we know that a marketing strategy actually works if it becomes talk of the town and it translates to the sale of the business. So for web mining, we have 3 points to remember. First is we have content mining. So we in here reminds content of the website. So the actual content of the website is being translated or is being analyzed. For structure mining naman, we bind or we analyze the structural elements of the website, such as its links. How many times is it being searched? How many times is it being clicked? Para maganon. And then usage mining naman mines users' interaction data gathered by web servers. So how many times are our website being used? How many times are our website being interacted? Parang ganon. So let us now go to databases and the web. As we all know, most business right now actually have an online presence. Some already have their own websites. Some have their own social media pages. Some post their advertisements online. So in here, firms use the web to make information from their internal databases available to customers and partners. So middleware and other software makes this possible. So ibig sabihin, businesses can transact with their customers basically in a manner through the internet. So through the use of para middlemen. So for example, we have web servers. So we can transact with their business using the web server. Then we have the application servers or the CGI. We have database server, web interfaces that provides familiarity to users and savings over redesigning legacy systems. So here is an image of a linking internal databases to the web. This was actually already discussed on the previous chapter. I think this was on chapter 2, I believe. So in here, this is how linking from databases actually work. So for example, a client wants to purchase a certain type of shoe. So that client will go to their web browser. So of course, their computer um, is connected to the internet. So once it is already typed, for example, on Google, so it would enter internet and then a web server to the application server, database server, and from the actual database where the information is actually stored. So from there, so databases, it would go back to the database server, application server, web server, internet, and back to the client's web browser. In here, he or she will have an option in terms of his or her searches. So users access an organization's internal database through the web using their, of course, desktop PCs, web browser software, or even our phones right now. We can actually browse or do transaction with just the use of our phones. So if a business decided or a firm decided to establish or to adapt this new technology, it is important that they should establish an information policy. So this information policy is vital or important to protect sensitive data from theft, from leaks, from unwanted viruses. So information policy states organizations' rules for organizing, managing, storing, and sharing of information. So in here, what information can be accessed by the public, what information cannot be accessed by the public, what information can only be accessed by the tech staff and the supervisors, what information should only be can only be viewed by the managers, what informations can be altered, and what informations cannot be. Then we have what we call data administration. So in here, responsible for specific policies and procedures through which data can be managed as a resource. So this can be done through an internal control. So there is what we call a data administrator. So they are the one who sets the policies and procedures in terms of gathering, organizing, and analyzing the data, and somewhat they can be more found on the IT department or has a background on information technology. Next is database administration. So database design and management group are responsible for defining and organizing structure and content of the database and maintaining the databases. Basically, these are the IT department of the company. They make sure that the database is organized, they make sure that the database is protected, and they make sure that the database is always updated. So it is important that in terms of gathering data, we have to ensure its quality. So what are the certain problems, or how do we ensure data quality? So first is we have poor data quality. So major obstacles to successful customer relationship management. Poor data quality, this can be, for example na lang, in terms of customer service, hindi maganda yung survey questions, or the customer service itself is not that good. So how can you actually gather a useful data if the actual process itself is flawed? Next is data quality problems. For example na lang ng data quality problems natin, redundant and inconsistent yung data produced by multiple system. So these are data, for example, you want to identify a certain data. Sometimes that data is inconsistent because your database itself is not up to date, or the technology itself in your company that is not at par with the database that you are using, or the system that you are using. Or sometimes it's already available pero very redundant siya, so you don't know which to pick up. And then we have data input errors. So usually data input error happens through human transactions. So sometimes our tech staff or even managers inputs the data incorrectly. So this is where data quality audit comes in. So data quality audit are structured survey of the accuracy and completeness of data. So in accounting, we have what we call auditing around the computer. So when here the actual database is being audited and identified identified if that database or that system can be bypassed. So, yun. Next is we have data cleaning. So, this detects the corrects, incorrect, incomplete, improperly formatted, and redundant data. So, this should be done by IT siguro mga once a month. So, you have to identify which of these data are actually correct, which of these data are incorrect, which of this data is already redundant and should be deleted, which of these data are incomplete and needs additional informations more. So that is the end of chapter 6, and I hope that you learned something from it. Thank you.